Association of Consecrated Women in Eastern and Central Africa. We delight in the Lord, delight in the Lord, for 50 years of His goodness. Praise the Lord, praise the Lord. Acweca at 50, praise the Lord. Praise the Lord, praise the Lord. Acweca at 50, praise the Lord. We are on fire for change and transformation and holistic formation for all.
And I always say that give something to a woman, it continues to grow. That is what I can say about Acweca.
I became president of Acweca from 1997 to 2002. But in the meantime, I happened to be able to attend all the other conferences. According to our statutes, you also have to attend the Bishops' Conference. So I attended about 3 Bishops' Conference as the president of Acweca. What can I say to it? It was good, but challenging being with the bishops there, and giving you respect to say contribute. And at the same time, you had to give them a report of what we were doing. But it was that working together with the bishop which made me feel very good that this is the church.
I first went to this Acweca meeting in 2002 in August. So when I reached there, it was that time called SIESC, that is Sisterhoods of Eastern Africa Study Conference. So it started like that from 1973 and it continued up to 2002, and it was that assembly that said, oh, for how long are we going to be a study conference? So that was the time that the word Acweca started forming. And it was that assembly that elected me as Secretary General. And I worked in Acweca for 3 years, from 2002 to 2005.
The beginnings of the Association of Consecrated Sisters of Eastern and Central Africa, Acweca, can be said to have been intertwined with the daunting challenges. But seeing the growth of Acweca at 50, perhaps we can appreciate why God sends the giants ahead.
The struggle with finances. I had to be the superior general of my own congregation, president of Acweca, with no secretary, and I had to travel to Nairobi, OSK, because we didn't have money as such. We didn't have our own coffers. So I used to take the opportunity when I would go to Rome for the International Union of Superiors General. I would pass through Nairobi, do some secretarial work, and eventually I insisted on one Franciscan congregation. I said, please give me somebody, even part-time. So it meant that when I would reach Nairobi, I would have to draft so many letters, leave them to the one they offered me to say she will be assisting you before I go to Rome. On my way back, I'd pass through Nairobi again to see how things were, where we were operating from. It was difficult, but at the same time, when you have something you cherish, you get extra energy.
The first challenge which I can cite was that we didn't have our own space of office. We decided to purchase land. With the monies we had, because contributions had to come from different congregations. And we managed to continue asking the sisters to contribute, and the building was started in the term of my successor. But today, the road is there, cars go there, people have built around.
We're working from our communities, and that would make it, to have only secretaries that are from Kenya. So when they got me, I was from Uganda. I didn't have a community in Kenya. So we rented offices. Now it is from the community and now to a rented office. And this rented office was in Wawumini House. And I was also staying in a hostel, Ivrea hostel down near Westlands. And after that, those 3 years, another Secretary General came in called Catherine Okari. I had fundraised some few dollars, about 5,000, to make our own house. And Catherine completed that. And for me, that is something to celebrate.
10 countries in the Eastern and Central English-speaking Africa that form Acweca are Eritrea, Ethiopia, Kenya, Malawi and South Sudan. Others are Sudan, Tanzania, Uganda and Zambia. Zimbabwe is an associate member. Acweca has a glorious history to not only recount but also to endeavor to accomplish. As early as 1960s, the Sacred Congregation for the Religious in Rome called an extraordinary meeting of women superior generals who had their generalate houses in Rome. This meeting with bishops sparked the desire to form national and international associations for religious sisters in the church for deeper evangelization and collaboration among the sisters. Sister Helen Mwalie has been around since the 1970s, when a great desire to create a common forum for women institutes of consecrated life was at initial stage.
Around the 1960s, the bishops who met in Rome came up with the idea of saying every country should have an association of superior generals where things can be discussed, where issues that affect religious life can be discussed, where people can feel renewed, and where they can take part in evangelization. In 1973, Sister Mary Therese Gashambi, who was the Superior General of the Congregation of the Assumption Sisters of Nairobi, attended the Superior Generals meeting in Rome. And there, another aspect was added to it of encouraging superiors all over the world, but more particularly superiors in Africa, to start associations where they can discuss pertinent issues that are aligned to religious life.
The Amesia bishops were greatly aiding the sisters. In 1973, religious women associations that were having study meetings were invited to the Amesia Plenary Assembly. At the meeting, the sisters met independently for the first time within the Amesia Conference.
The very 1973, Sister Mary Therese Gashambi, she met with some sisters in Nairobi. 4 of them, Idel Bahati, Sister Stephen Nkoitoi, Sister Cecilia Nbiopioka, and herself. So 4 of them met and they started to strategize and say what were they going to do.
Later in 1974, with a lot of dedication, hard work and resilience, Acweca was born at what is recognized as the sisters' first Acweca Plenary Assembly held in Limulu, Kenya. At this stage, the association only called itself the Amesia Sisters.
So the first meeting we had was in Limuru in Nairobi, and we were 5 of us. From Zambia, 2 of us attended. Sister Selina Malambo, God rest her, she was the major superior of the handmaid sisters, and myself. We represented Zambia. Then we had representation from Malawi, from Tanzania, from Uganda, and Kenya itself. I think for me, that's when I could say it was the birthday of Acweca 1974. We called ourselves Amesia Sisters Study Conference. And when it was held in Zambia, when we were asked by the nuncio then, what are you? I happened to be one of the organizers. So proudly I said, we are the Messiah Sisters, study conference. And he laughed and he said, since when did you become bishops? So it was here in Zambia that we changed it to say Sisters of East and Central Africa Study Conference.
From inception, financial challenges, lack of office space for Secretariat with its own full-time Secretary General was a huge challenge, but noble task for Acweca, only achieved in 2007.
All these years we were using the office of Kenya, AOSK, and their secretary was helping us out. And at the same time, donors were not forthcoming. I still remember going to a certain European country, and I was kind of like brushed. What do you want? We're already funding this other association to have their office, and what do you want? I had to say no. Acweca is bigger. It's the umbrella of these other associations. So eventually they agreed, and it took 3 years to build our association secretariat, of which we said also we have to be self-sustaining. So they have added more buildings for accommodation. So we started thinking of saying we need to have not only a part-time secretary coming to arrange for an assembly, but a full-time secretary. And not just somebody who push on, but somebody who is qualified. And eventually one congregation was so generous that they gave us Romina, who was a lawyer. So when we got a full-time secretary, we were lucky that she was able to get us, the legal parts, like getting us registered. And she went on to say, we need some statutes. So she worked hard until we had well-defined statutes for the association.
I found Acweca the way it was a study conference. I had to sit down to look for what is the vision of Acweca, what is the mission, what objectives do we follow. And this is something that I put down in that booklet called Acweca Light. We took about 100 copies to each national association. That was number one thing. And there is something that is always dear to me, to be the first to go out to Zambia, to Kenya, to Uganda, to wherever, so that these associations can have a relationship with Acweca and know it better.
And that was a really big move and a big change, because from that time onwards, we have had a full-time secretary. And I was delighted, although it was hard work, because it was during my term of office that Acweca celebrated Silver Jubilee, 25 years of existence. Considering the first meeting that we had in Limuru 1974, and here we were 25 years, still existing. And I said, this is the will of God. This is God ushering us into the 3rd millennium and still wanting us to exist. He will be our lead. He will be our guide.
When you look at Acweca already, what is at the back of our minds are associations. So we are empowered together as associations.
We are also able to see further than just ourselves, to see where we are trying to say that we want the society to be changed.
To walk in his footsteps is to say, you young sister, I want you to join the Acweca, to know what it's all about. Whatever apostolate you are going to be engaged in, can you really say you are evangelizing, that you are giving Christ to the people there?
Transformative, holistic formation, evangelization, authentic living, spirit of listening, wisdom, discernment, unseen out of
This August 2024, Acweca celebrates a Golden Jubilee and also the 19th Plenary Assembly. The plenary comes after 3 years. For Acweca, it's a double momentous milestone, which is truly significant and inviting. At 50, Acweca has grown in leaps and bounds.
Sisters were not forthcoming to give their sisters for service because they needed them more in the congregations than in the association.
Yes.
So every time you ask for sisters, they would say, we don't have. But now, the resources are just numerous.
Yeah, we should celebrate because we started as a study conference and it turned into an association. That time when I was working in Acweca, I was the only sister working in the office. My administrative secretary was a lay person. My accountant was a lay person. So we were 3 in the office. But now, Acweca has so many people working there. And most of them are religious. They are holding different departments. So I think Acweca has grown.
It is also a moment of gratitude. How God has been faithful to us, because this association comprises of consecrated women, and these women that can go to the ends of the earth, to the margins where nobody can go. Currently, we have more than 300 congregations, more than 30,000 sisters in the region. So that growth is one of the successes that this association has stood the test of time. There is a lot of collaboration that is happening in Acweca, and we collaborate international among ourselves as member countries, and at the same time the collaboration that is happening with other organizations that are outside of Acweca, even outside of Africa. Another one is the donor confidence that we have attained as a region, that we are seen as one of the most stable associations in Africa here, and it is a pride for us. We work with a strategic plan. For me, that is another success. While Ethiopia is a member country, they didn't have a women's association, but now they have a women's association, and it is one of our successes.
When the Pope writes to us, we are all looking for the Pope's. What is the Pope saying? I would love to see Acweca writing to us as a beacon of the whole region, maybe with a background of canon law, and then we see, religious life must be lived like this in an African setting. That thing of who is a consecrated person, how should she live? What is the call today for a consecrated person should be number one. Then the rest will come, and they are all very important.
Renewed by the now Synodal Church, called upon by Pope Francis, sisters in Acweca continue to be the stars of the church and pride of the bishops. They support the pastoral work of the church in her integral evangelization, and project sustainability is key for Acweca.
We have what is known as the Sisters Blended Value Project.
Is to improve the lives of these girls so that we can reduce the aspect of early marriages and early pregnancies among them. Also to create self-employment for them. The mothers that were also in the slum, and some of them were prostitute women. And so they encouraged these women to be coming here, and they thought of giving these women some skills, the skills that would support them to bring up their children.
Through this education which we lend to our children, we are also evangelizing them.
The sisters are trained to convert their ministries into social enterprises. They are also taught how to integrate their charism. You know, as sister congregations, the charism is our identity. So the ministries are run in such a way that we don't become just business people like anybody else. While we look at the ministries that we are running and ensure that they become sustainable, we don't want to remain with the charity models that where we have come from, where sisters, they just hand over salt, hand over meal, hand over shoes to the children. But we want to model enterprises that can stand the test of time. And as sisters are trained, they also train the people on how to be sustainable entrepreneurs and social ministers that are sustainable.
To make this enormous work bearable, Acweca prioritizes education of sisters and sisters' leadership development following the objectives, vision, and mission of Acweca.
The vision of Acweca is to empower consecrated women so that they become deeper evangelizers. So how do we foster their leadership? We build a lot of capacity among the leaders in the region as well as the sisters from individual congregations and as associations.
So that availability is what is helping us to listen together to the Spirit, because this Church of Christ, today we are here, yesterday the apostles and the disciples were there, and when we pass through this world, there will be other people after us. How do we want them to find the church? What is the Spirit speaking to us at this time in history?
For us to be here for a week, it was something which was refreshing and also a renewal.
Also, we are very happy because we have built a social networking through these seminars. Whenever you get some hindrance or constraints, you can call the people within that social network to get new idea so that you can work well.
So through the ASEC is the African Sisters Education Collaborative. There are different programs that run, programs like the Sisters Leadership Development Initiative, where sisters are trained in either finance, administration, or technology. Then we also have what is called HESA, Higher Education for Sisters Advancement. So there sisters go to get a degree, they go to get a master's, they go to get a PhD. And that is a form of empowerment for the sisters.
The board of directors from the 10 member countries, who are themselves superior generals or provincials in their own congregations, ensure Acweca functions as effectively as possible.
The board, first of all, acts as a link between the secretariat or the mother body Acweca to the national association. And also the board is there for planning purposes so that no one is left behind. We are all going together there's no country that is left out to say, maybe their program was forgotten or they haven't been taken care of. So the board is to have the bird's eye of the organization. The board meets twice in a year. So in that, we make sure that the mandate that is given at the plenary assembly is being ably implemented. It's also to ensure that the people at the secretariat are working efficiently, the programs are running in a timely manner, and the association is not crumbling.
The 19th plenary assembly to be hosted in Malawi is celebrated under the theme Transformative Holistic Formation for Authentic Living towards a deeper evangelization in the Acweca region and beyond.
Without formation, we cannot be grounded. It is in formation that we learn to love Jesus. It is in our formation that we are taught the essentials of religious life. So when we meet like that, we try to bring to each other the awareness of what is important at the moment. How do we go forward in our formation in order to answer the needs of our religious life at the moment, and at the same time to hold the relevance of religious life in the church.
And another thing the General Assembly does that becomes really the body that governs Acweca, that is where we generate ideas. And it is the assembly that governs the whole thing. Like when we were there in 2005, I was asking you people, the bishops get trained somehow. When they become bishops, they go to Rome and they train them how to behave and how to work as bishops. But for us superior generals, really tell us, where are we trained? And I remember that assembly said, now we have to be giving the incoming team courses and the outgoing team course workshops. And they have to be coming every year so that we can really prepare our own to lead very well. Then there is also another idea that came up in 2005 in Kurasini, Tanzania. What happens is that we said, our chapters have become battlefields. What are we going to do? And then we said, why can't we call people, maybe from abroad, to come and train us into first chapter facilitation? And that, it was past that time. That for me, that was a very big thing that came from Acweca. And I would want many more things to come from there to govern consecrated life.
Besides all the successes, challenges will always emerge. Acweca strongly believe none can face the challenges of this world alone.
The after effects of COVID, they are still being felt in some of the places. Some of the sisters' ministries are still struggling to rise from that pandemic. And also the hunger situations that are affecting our planet, the southern region at the moment. There is a lot of hunger, drought, our earth, the mother earth is not responding very well because of what we have done to it.
Mother Teresa Kashambi, whom I really say was the one that took the lead, that took the initiative to organize this. She only died recently. And now Idel Bahati, who was there at the very first meeting when they were alone in Nairobi, she died. I say, may they rest in peace. They have done their work. And out of those, only 2 of us are alive. There is one in Tanzania and myself.
But killing of nuns by the enemies of the church in some member countries of Acweca is barbaric and a very heartless act. This must end, or sisters suffer together with the people they leave to serve. Their strength is the one and only true God. Going forward, there's a great anticipation and desire for the next 10 years.
I anticipate joy of achievement. At the same time, I anticipate there will be challenges. That from 50 years, what next? I'm a dreamer in God's eyes. And just as we were dreaming at the beginning of Acweca, I'm still dreaming to say, may it encompass the whole of Africa, so that evangelization may continue, because evangelization is not going to stop. Christ has left us, go and teach all nations. And this is my prayer, to say long live Acweca, and to thank the Lord for the life He gave me, and be a member to see 50 years and still alive. although age is catching on, but I still feel the fire of God.
Because it is not so much of growing wide as growing deep. That's for me very important. So that people can look at consecrated life and they say, yeah.
The people that handed us Acweca over the past 50 years, the people on whose shoulders we stand currently, are looking down on us and seeing what they are seeing now. I'm sure they are praying, and they have prayed for us, for the association to stand the test of time to this moment. But in the next 10 years, I'll still love it to grow bigger than it is now. And if possible, that we have different secretariats in the different regions. Also an improvement and an increment on the programs that Acweca is running, so that we are able to answer the current needs of the world in order for it to remain relevant. That would demand a lot of commitment, the commitment from the members of Acweca when we are looking at the programs that are running in our countries, to be able to reflect and discern the new callings. Where is God calling us currently?
It is true the Church has been a champion of human development in the region. Suffice to say, the Church only makes up for state deficiency, and the women religious are the frontliners. No doubt, Acweca lives the prophetic words of St. Pope Paul VI, who said,
"You Africans are missionaries to yourselves."
We're giving thanks to the mighty God as we celebrate religious life. We're giving praise to the mighty God, as we celebrate the Jubilee. Let's come together and celebrate Golden Jubilee. Mama, 50 years of empowering religious women for deeper evangelization.